The wind on the arbor was sharp and carried the scent of damp moss and pine needles. I stood at the summit cross, hands buried deep in my jacket pockets, gazing out over the Bavarian Forest in Germany. Gray, endless, bare in late autumn. At 38, my life felt exactly the same. Empty. The divorce had been final for 3 months. My ex-wife couldn't take it anymore. "Your Jesus has become too restrictive for me," she had said. Not me, just my faith. But in the end, she took the kids. I only got to see them every other weekend. That's why I hiked alone so often now. Up here, where the sky felt closer, I could at least talk to him. "Lord," I had whispered in the car that morning, "show me why all this is happening. Give me peace, even if I don't understand." I was about to start the descent when I saw her. A woman in her mid-30s with 2 children. The boy was maybe 8, the girl 6. They stood a bit off to the side. The woman held the girl's hand tightly, while the boy poked the ground with a stick. The wind carried her voice to me, quiet, but filled with an exhaustion that went much deeper than just a long hike. "No more vacations for the next few years. This is the last one for a long time." Then a sentence that stuck with me. "Dad is abroad. He had no choice." Something about crime hung in the air. I wasn't sure if I had heard correctly. They looked down the rocky, slippery path. The little girl was already whimpering that she couldn't walk anymore. The woman looked uncertain, almost desperate. I walked over before I could think too long about it. "Excuse me," I said calmly. "I overheard that you're heading to the parking lot. The trail is pretty tough with kids. I know this route well. I'm from Ansbach, and I've been up here many times. If you'd like, I can walk down with you. No trouble at all." She looked at me first with suspicion, then her eyes went to the children. The boy looked at me curiously. "We really don't want to bother you," she began. "You're not. I'm going down anyway." She hesitated a moment longer, then nodded. "Thank you. That would be really kind. I'm Yvonne. Mike." And so we set off. I took the little girl's backpack and slung it over my shoulder. The boy, his name was Lukas, immediately walked beside me and bombarded me with questions. Had I ever seen a bear? Did I play soccer? Why was I hiking alone? The girl, Mia, grew braver after a while and wanted to sit on my shoulders when the path got steeper. Yvonne smiled properly for the first time when she saw that, a tired but genuine smile. The descent took time. We walked slowly, taking breaks at the beautiful viewpoints. Halfway down, we sat on a fallen tree trunk. I pulled out my thermos, poured hot tea into the cups, and passed them around. The children ran around a bit, collecting pine cones. Yvonne watched them. "This is the first time in months they've been this carefree," she said softly. I nodded. Kids can sense when the adults are carrying heavy burdens. She looked at me sideways. "And you? Are you carrying something heavy too?" I didn't hesitate long. Up here, where everything was quiet, it was easier. "Yes, my wife left. Divorce is final. The kids live with her. She said my faith in Jesus had become too restrictive for her, as if I had ever tried to change her. But for me, he is the only thing still holding me together. When I pray, I feel that I'm not alone with all this pain, that he can still build something new out of ruins. Forgiveness, hope, those are not empty words for me, even if it hurts to sit alone in church every Sunday." Yvonne was silent for a long time. Then she said quietly, "I once had love, real, deep love. But my husband, he changed. It started 2 years ago. He got involved with the wrong crowd. At first, just some business deals that were supposed to bring quick money. Then he became more and more closed off, aggressive, started lying, didn't come home at night. The love, It just disappeared. Not overnight, but slowly, like a fire no one tended anymore. In the end, I was only afraid of him. And then he ran away, abroad, with money that wasn't his. Now I'm left here, alone with the two of them. No more vacations, no security, just bills and the neighbors' looks back home in the Remstal. Her voice was thin. I saw her hand trembling slightly as she held the teacup. "I'm sorry," I said. "That's really hard. But you're not alone up here. And you're not alone down there either." I pointed briefly upward. "He sees you. And sometimes he sends someone who simply walks with you." She looked at me for a long time, not suspicious this time, more searching. "You sound like you really believe that." "I have to believe it," I answered simply. "Otherwise, I wouldn't have survived the last few months." The children came back, Lukas proudly showing me a particularly large pine cone. We packed up and continued. The rest of the way passed faster. Lukas wanted to hold my hand. Mia sang a children's song that I whistled along to. Yvonne walked beside me, quiet, but no longer as tense. When we reached the parking lot below, we stood there for a moment, unsure. "Thank you, Mike," she said. "Not just for carrying things and walking with us, but for listening." She gave me her number, in case you're ever in the area again, or just because. I texted her 2 days later. In the following weeks and months, our messages became longer, our conversations deeper. Yvonne filed for divorce. It was a difficult but liberating step for her. "I can't stay in a marriage that was only filled with fear and lies anymore," she told me on the phone. "I want a fresh start, for myself and especially for the kids." Our relationship grew closer. We saw each other as often as possible. Sometimes she came with the children to Ansbach. Sometimes I drove to the Remstal. Lukas and Mia got more and more used to me. The boy eventually just called me Mike from the Arber, and Mia only wanted me to read to her at bedtime. In spring, something happened I hadn't expected. One evening, Yvonne shyly told me she had visited a small non-denominational church in her town. "I only went out of curiosity," she said, "because you spoke so calmly and hopefully about your faith. And it didn't feel foreign. The people were friendly, no big words, just beautiful, deep songs and a sermon about everyday life. I've been there 3 times since. It feels like something inside me is slowly opening up." I could barely hide the joy in my voice. "That's wonderful, Yvonne. I'm not pushing you into anything, but if you want, we can go to a service together sometime, at your place or mine. No pressure at all."
She laughed softly.
"I think I would actually like that." In February of the following year, we were sitting on my couch in the evening. The children were asleep in the guest room. Outside, it was snowing gently, covering the world in a fresh white blanket. Yvonne leaned her head on my shoulder and said quietly, "You know, Mike, I thought for a long time that love was over for me. That after everything with my husband, only emptiness would remain. But with you, everything is becoming brighter again. The divorce is almost final, the kids are laughing more, and I'm even starting to look forward to Sundays. Not just because of you, but also because of that little church where I'm slowly starting to feel at home." I took her hand and gently squeezed it. I was scared too, I admitted. But I firmly believe that God can build something beautiful out of our ruins. For you, for me, and for Lukas and Mia. Not because everything is perfect, but because we are willing to walk on together, step by step, with Him and with each other. She lifted her head and looked at me with warm, shining eyes. "I want that too," she whispered. "To hope together with you. To grow together and see what He makes of it. I'm so grateful that you simply walked up to us that day on the Arber." I smiled, pulled her closer, and kissed her gently. "And I'm grateful that you said yes when I asked to walk with you. Outside, the snow continued to fall, quiet and gentle. For the first time in a long while, my life no longer felt like a bare forest in November. It felt like spring that was beginning very quietly but unstoppable. And this time, we would experience it together. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this story with me until the end. In a world that often feels cold and noisy, stories like this, profound, heartfelt, and full of faith, are so important. If you'd like more of these, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new one. Let me know in the comments how this story touched you. I really read every single comment. May God bless you with a wonderful day. See you soon.